We're back on Larry King Live. Okay, you don't want to own the refrigerator where Jeffrey Dahmer kept the remnants of his prey. How about a comic book that just shows how he lured and killed his victims? While some victims' families fight to auction Dahmer items alongside art and antiques, comics with titles like Dahmer's Zombie Squad are showing up alongside Superman and the X-Men. Herman Darvik is an auctioneer who sells crime memorabilia. He says people will pay big money for Dahmer items. He's with us from New York. In Los Angeles, Hart Fisher of Boneyard Press, which publishes adult-oriented comics, including Jeffrey Dahmer titles. Carolyn Smith and her attorney, Thomas Jacobson, remain with us here in Washington.
Down the freeway.
Hart, who reads the comic books?
There's a real good cross-section, like you were saying, of America. I get mothers, fathers, uncles, grandmothers. Everybody comes by buying the table to check out the Dahmer comics when I'm at comic conventions.
Why?
The only people, they're really fascinated. If you look at our history, we're really fascinated by monsters, and the serial killer is the modern-day werewolf. You wouldn't know this guy is a monster at all if you're buying groceries to him in the grocery store, yet out of nowhere he could turn into a killer.
So obviously there's interest. Do you favor the victims, Hart, getting proceeds from memorabilia?
I really think what they should do is they should write a book, go ahead and display how awful it is to be a victim. Write their own books about the victims and talk about that instead of trying to sully themselves by bathing in the blood money.
But you don't think, for example, that you should give a portion of comic book receipts to them?
Well, at this point, the Dahmer comic I did didn't make a dime. We made about $5,000 in profits and spent $9,000 and $300 in change to defend my right to publish the book.
Well, then it isn't doing well.
No, not well at all.
So, but you said they do well.
Well, they sell well, but the money's spent. It's gone already. It's not a matter of me going out buying a Lamborghini or...
You, I understand, Carolyn, were depicted in one of these.
Yes.
Right? Can I see it?
In here.
Is that you up in the...
Yeah. Mr. Fisher, I'd like to ask you, had you ever seen me in court at all?
No, I didn't watch any of the TV. When I did the research for the book, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Did you know what I looked like before you did the comic book?
I had no idea.
No idea. So you just assumed I was a Caucasian woman.
When I went into the public library to do my research for the book, it never stated whether you were black or white, so I had to make a flip coin judgment on your name, Carolyn Smith.
And my color, too.
Exactly. I had no idea what color you were.
Can we show the picture, please? I'm holding it. Can we show it? There it is.
That is my mistake completely in my research.
Well, it's not her.
Well,
Let's go up the page a little.
None of the what I've read in any of the books or the newspapers ever stated what color Carolyn Smith was.
There it is.
Well, I've been seen in a number of papers and everything, but Mr. Hart, now that we're on national TV and my mother's looking at this program as well as myself and my family, I think you should apologize.
For what?
For putting me as a Caucasian woman and not investigating, because that seems to be the problem with you people. You think you can say and do whatever you want to these families, and we're not hurt by it. You even put my brother as a Caucasian boy. Now, had you seen my brother, and he was one of the victims.
Did you try to sue over this?
Yes, I did, and I lost through the First Amendment, and I've had that up to here, too.
If it does bother her heart, what's the problem in apologizing?
Well, the problem is this. Why don't you go out and create your own product?
And write a book on what it's like to be a black called a Caucasian who becomes a victim?
Something like that.
Had you ever seen my brother?
No, I hadn't.
You know what what I think is interesting, Hart, is you say that, you know, you write the comic book, it's doing terrific, and then when you're point blank about where's the money go, you say you don't have any money. When Lionel Dahmer is asked, where'd the $150,000 advance
Well, you talk about going terrific. There was only a 14,000 print run.
The $150,000 that Lionel Dahmer gets, he claims it goes to his lawyers, it claims to the book writers, and he doesn't have any money to give the victims either. Everybody exploits the victims for
Sit
profit.
down and do the arithmetic.
And this is wrong, and it's got to change.
If Hart Fisher sold 10 million Jeffrey Dahmer comic books, you'd want a cut of that?
Most definitely.
Even if it was grotesque and they were drawing you as Caucasian when you weren't, you'd want a cut of it?
Right. Because if Jeffrey Dahmer hadn't murdered these boys, there would be no Jeffrey Dahmer comic book.
Herman, what do you think of sharing it among the victims?
Well, I think that's very important because you have to realize that if the victims don't get the money, then Jeffrey Dahmer gets the money. Sooner or later, these things can be sold, and maybe his father would sell them, and the money is there. Gacy ended up with over $100,000, I heard, in his estate, and I'm sure Dahmer is well aware of that. So if these items aren't sold for the benefit of the victims, and Dahmer keeps them, obviously they'll be sold sooner or later, and Dahmer will profit from it.
Hart, you don't have to pay Dahmer, do you?
No, not at all. I don't like Dahmer very much.
We'll come back and include some more phone calls. This is Larry King live in Washington. Don't go away.
For his sexual satisfaction. His sexual satisfaction killed Stephen Hicks. Foul, indecent, vicious act to drug him first. So a man didn't even have a chance to reach out, to grasp for life, to reach out. That was no favor. Don't kill me by drugging me. My God, come at me with a knife or a gun. I'll fight for my life.
Let's go to calls. Pinion Crest, California. Hello.
Yes, Larry. My question is to the creator of the comic strip,
Hart Fisher.
And I just have to ask this gentleman: are things really so desperate that you have to make depravity a way of life? I mean, you look like you're a creative gentleman, and I weep for America to think that that you need to stoop so low and make something commercial out of this horrible crime.
Hart?
Well, basically, the comic book was a reaction to Dahmer's celebrity status. We were talking about the Nancy Reagan, Kitty Kelly biography, and we decided that Boneyard should do something like that. And the more I researched about Dahmer, the more I saw he was in People magazine's top 25 most intriguing people of 1991. And I wanted to show the monster, the child molester, so people really knew what a piece of scum this guy was.
Hart, why would you investigate Dahmer and not the 17 boys that you're putting in this book?
Well, I read a couple of different books. I read Murders in Apartment 13.
But you don't look at pictures?
And I looked in the newspapers, and at the time, this was 2 years ago, there weren't a lot of photographs floating around, and I didn't want to use their photos in the drawings.
17 young boys were in USA Today, shown on television, whatever.
When?
Pardon me?
I didn't watch the trial. I didn't watch all the celebrity status, the hoo-ha on the TV. I went to the library and researched the print media where I felt that the facts would be most accurate.
St. John's, New Brunswick. Hello.
Hi. I'm wondering, especially in the United States, it seems that crime pays and it pays big. I certainly sympathize. I think the victims should be compensated in some way. But I'm wondering, is this going to set some kind of a precedent with the O.J. Simpson trial beginning? And I know this has been before. Things have been auctioned off. But I was wondering, with the big cases, if this is going to set some kind of scary precedent, and a lot of people are going to make a lot of money.
Herman?
People are just fascinated by crime.
Hart, what are you going to publish comic books about O.J. or others?
Yeah, actually, we do have a comic in the works called Doing Time with O.J. It's going to be a total satire, a little piece of the media, and about two demons vacationing from hell to visit O.J. Simpson.
So no apology, Hart?
No apologies.
Tom, based on the statements of the prosecutor, does that make you a little relieved? He says you're going to get